Hi everyone, welcome to my Excel data analysis class. In this particular class, I'm going to show you every single thing you need to know about Microsoft Excel to get started and start analyzing data ASAP. So the very first thing you have to do is to get the data downloaded and take a look at this particular worksheet right in here. Then after that, look at the data we're going to be using and straight up to this very first, one here where it says data types and codes. So over here, we are looking at what Excel understands and what Excel does not understand. This will give you your first foundation of Microsoft Excel, because if you miss this particular part, forget it. Anything you do will give you errors, right? So I don't want you to base your working on Excel into guesswork. I just want you to actually get things done the right way. So this particular first one here is fundamental, thing that you need to know. So let us get into the class. Before we delve deep into Excel, there is something you must understand, and that is what Excel understands and what Excel does not understand. This is very important, and this is what most persons are missing that is making them to have errors in their functions and formula. The very first one here is number under category, followed by the example here. Then look at how Excel treats it. So Excel understands number, percentages, currency, dates, time, true and false, cell reference, name range, function names, operators, and error values. So those are the perfect examples of every single thing I just listed right now, and this should be read by you to understand exactly what Excel needs. So if you can actually get all of this right, you know them, you know when to use them, believe me, the numbers of errors you're going to have when analyzing data with Excel will be very few. Now, over here now, what Excel does not understand, this is exactly what it is. A person's name, like your name. A city, location like Lagos. A product or category label like electronics. A day or month spelled out that is not referenced. Excel does not understand what Monday is, except if you have Monday, January down to December in your Excel library. Excel does not understand it. So you must understand all of this. Excel does not understand a status or label you invent, or a department or branch, a free text note, or a single letter or code, just like what I have right here right now. So please, I want to urge you to read through all of this particular part right in here and keep the memory, as you're going to be needing them later. Before we get started, there is something I want you to do for me. This is the main data we're going to be using. It's a sales data we're going to be using for this particular training. So there is what we call name range. How do you create that? You can actually create name range by highlighting this single column here and come over here and type a name for it. For example, I can just say branch. So which means this is branch. If I am actually under count if here, I can click over here and I will jump to that particular branch column. This is exactly what it is. Now, how do you delete it? Because I want to create something very special for you that will make us to actually analyze data without coming over to this particular worksheet over and over again. Let me show you. I don't want to actually have this particular branch right in here again. So what do? Go to the top ribbon and click over formulas, then go over to where it says manage, like name manager here. So once you're here, you can see we have the branch, then click on delete, then delete. Okay. The very first thing we have to do to work, with Excel is to actually convert our data to Excel table. So which is going to be under insert over here. Then you can see here we have table. So I think right now we already have it on table. And if you already have your data on a table and you don't want it any longer, you want to convert it to normal Excel table without using the proper table, what do? You go over to design here. Now you have where it says convert to range. So clicking on convert to range, that actually takes off the table that you have already added to your data. To bring it back right now, we have Control T, and Control T, we actually insert, a table for us again. Then make sure this one is checked so that the headers could be the actual header that you're using. So in case you forgot what the shortcut is, go over to here and click on Insert, and here is active. Once you hover over it, you can see Control T again. Click on it and click on OK. So right now that we have done this, make sure you actually highlight the top one here. If you want to select everything across the column, you do Control Shift arrow to the right hand corner, down arrow, selected every single column and rows in your data. That is holding your Control and Shift down, then play with the arrow up and down to actually get this done. Okay, once you have highlighted it, let's go to the top ribbon now. This time around, we have to go to Formulas, and from Formulas, we're going to go to where it says Create from Selection. Then you're going to have this. So right now, what we want to do is that we want to name every single columns inside this very data. So we're going to be using the top, which is over here now. We have branch code, we have branch city, we have date, order date. We just want to use them. So uncheck this particular column here and choose the top row, then click on OK. So to see if this has been created, go back to the top ribbon, click on Formula, then click on Name Manager, and over here you can see them. If I click over here, you can see it will highlight that particular column. Can you see it now? Another way you can verify it is to click over any other sheets and go over here. You can see all of them. So let us go to quantity. Now here we are. It has been highlighted. This is the first thing you need to do. Please pause the video and practice this, then come back and let us get into the next one. Now, let us answer business questions with formulas. Yes, you heard me right. We are going to be answering business questions with formulas. It is something very easy. All you have to do is to pay attention, as I will be showing you every single thing you need to know. Okay, let me just widen this one here. Over here, you have to look at the big idea. So read through this and it will help you to actually answer any of the questions right in here. So make sure you have your workbook opened right now and go to basic formulas. That is where we are, number 1. So now it says the 5 formula every analyst uses every day. So you might not have this. I would love to color this for now. So I'll color it white. So now they have disappeared. So when you see adds up a range of number, that is actually the sum function. When you see finds the mean topical value, that is average. When you see finds the largest value, is max. But mind you, it is not only max. We have another function that can do the same thing. That is the large function. When you hear the word finds the smallest value, that is mean. And we have another function for that. That is the small function, which we're going to be looking at in detail. Then we have count how many numbers are in the range. So in this particular part here, we're going to be needing count function. But there are different types of count function which you need to understand. And I'm going to actually brush everything in this particular video. Okay, now I want you to remember something. What is that you will need to remember? We actually have our columns here named. You understand? So let's say now we want to actually sum the total quantity sold over here. We don't have to come over here again. But the first example is to come over here to show you the stress of coming over here over and over again. So if what we want to actually do on this particular part here is to some kind of get the quantity sold, we're going to actually need to do the sum function. The sum function here will help us to actually get the quantity sold. Then we have to come over here and the data, then highlight this particular portion, then close and hit your enter key. Then we have this. What if I told you that you don't need to go back to that particular data sheet again? All you have to do is to be here and put your equals, then the sum function, and you type in quantity. Here you go. there is something you need to actually understand here. The table you have defined is this particular one here. How do I know? Because of this particular table icon on it. So any other thing here is actually functions. You get it right now. That is it. So we're going to go ahead and select this. And if I close and hit my enter key, I have the same exact number right in here. This is cool, but we have to make sure we some kind of highlight this environment and format it. To format, we just go over to here, make sure you're under home and you choose to use comma separator, then take off the extra decimal number that we might have on it. Okay, let's say we are looking for the average, quantity sold. How do we do that? Over here, it says find the mean topical value. That is the average. If I unveil this particular tool over here, can you see it now? Then over here, you can just do average. So with the average function, we just do the same quantity, then we close, and we have 7 as the average. Can you see it now? The next one is going to be finding the mean or the max value, which is to find the largest value. So all you have to do right now is just to copy this particular quantity to make it easy for you. If you don't want to actually type it every single time, you can just copy it and come over here and you type in max. Then you paste in this and you close, you hit your enter key. This is the max order that we actually have. And I told you that we have, another function that can do the work of max, and that is the large function. I don't know if we have a class for that, but let me just show you right in here. So the large function here will actually do the same thing. I'm going to paste in that. And after doing this, put a comma here. The case simply means which of the large do we want. We can actually get the first, second, third, fourth, fifth, or the sixth large, whatever. So I need the first one. I'll put 1 over there and I hit my enter key. I have the same exact number. If I want the second largest number, I can actually put 2 over here. And here we go. We still have it to return this particular one for us. So let us say we want the 10th one. And here we go. We have 80. Can you see it now? It depends. So over here, we are looking for the smallest one. We use the mean function. The mean function here, what it does is to actually give us the minimum value. That is 1. And over here, and that function that can do the same work is actually the small function. The small function is just the same thing as what? As the large function. Can you see it now? So if you want the second smallest, you can actually put 2 over here. It is still the 1. Let us search for the 10th one. So now it's still the 1. So can you see it now? All right, so what we can do next is going to be the count. So the count right now is actually counting how many numbers are in a range. So let us say we want to count the numbers of transactions we've had under this particular table right in here. How do we do that? It's simple. So I can decide to count that same column, which is what? Which is the same exact column we have been using. That is the quantity column. So all I have to do is to do count, and I paste it in and I hit my enter key. I have this. So how can we be sure if this is true? We go back here. Now we highlight it and we come over here. We have 2566. Is that correct? Let's get back here. So here is 2565. So why do we have 2565 over here? That was because when we selected everything here, it included the header. And that is exactly what made it actually the top one. You get it right now. So that is exactly what it is that you need to understand. So if I now reveal what we have right in here, right now, you can see every functions we have used are the same exact thing that is here. So if you understand Excel very well, whenever somebody says, do this particular calculation for me, it will be very easy for you to come up with the exact function that could actually do that. Okay, now you have your first, assignment. You are just going to read through this particular question here and solve it using the same method we have actually used to actually get this done. Over here is looking for the total sales across all orders. Then what is the largest average order value? And don't tell me you don't know what column to use. So let me show you as a hint. So over here, when we go straight up to this particular part, we have the sales. This is the total sales right here that you need to use to actually solve this very part right in here. So go ahead and do that. I'm going to put here homework. So good luck on that. Welcome to the next one. That is the formatting part right in here. This particular part here is going to help you to actually format values and as well tables, right? So if you have watched most of my videos on this particular channel, you would have seen that I love formatting values a lot to have good report or good dashboard. So let us start from here. When you highlight here, go over to here and be under home, go to conditional formatting. There are several presets that you can actually use right in here. Let us go with this particular one. Can you see it now? This helps you to highlight the highest value. Now, from afar, you can quickly tell which of these particular products has the highest value because of how we actually formatted it. So we can do the same exact thing to here in a different way by going over here and actually click over here. Then this time around, you might want to use this to actually highlight. So this particular, part here, you have to be careful on how you use it. So know what colors should actually go for: highest value, lowest value, and all of that. So it depends on the color scheme you have on your report or on your dashboard. So for me right now, my highest value is going with green, and I love this. Okay, if you look at it, it's okay, but this is not final. If you look at it right now, there is no comma separator for 1000. So how do you put that? Let me show you how to get that done. Go over here and come over to this particular part. Here you can actually put a comma separator. So to actually deduct the decimal number, just press here and that is gone. Okay, and that way you can do that is going to actually the same place, and you see this particular little arrow right in here. Click on it and it opens up this particular part for you where you can perform miracle on your data. So another way to get there is to do select and Control 1 will take you to the same exact place. This time around, you want to actually format it with, currency. You can actually come over here and choose currency and select any currency of your choice. Your country currency will be here. So just go ahead and actually search through and actually pick it up, and that will definitely give you, good formatting. So I'm going to actually, at random, I'm going to pick any one. Maybe this very one. I'll click on OK. So can you see now? So go back to Control 1 and deduct the decimal number you have on it. So here you go. This is something very pretty basic, right? So what if you want to actually add formatting just like this one? You can come over here, and this time around, you can decide to use maybe icon to actually highlight the highest value. So you can actually see here, we have the highest value and the lowest value carries red. It depends on what you want. This is a function you can never skip. It is a must-learn function. It is called the if function, the nested if function, and the if-else function all together. You get it right now. So how does it work? Let's find out. So over here it says the if lets you, or lets Excel choose between two answers based on a test. So in plain English, if the test, and once the test is being found or met, then what if it is true, then what do you want to have? If you can actually not get what you want, what do you want to have as a feedback? It's easy. So I'm going to show you the perfect example right now on how to use the if function. But before then, let me give you this very simple example with your surrounding. Let's say you have a younger brother and you want to get maybe an apple from a store, and that is just what you want. If there's no apple, come back with my money. And you just call it, Habib, go to the store, get this particular $5 and go to the store and get me an apple. And he'll be like, okay, fine. What if I don't see an apple? What will I do? Come back with my money. That is if. So if there is an apple, the little boy will come back with an apple. If there's no any apple in the store, your money will come back to you. That is it. So over here right now, we're going to be, categorizing this value. Over here, as you can see, we have a hint already. That is formula pattern here. So we are looking forward to having the largest value to be 500. Anything greater than 500 is actually large. Otherwise, it is small. But there is something you have to remember. Let me take you back to here. We're about to actually get much more, advanced right now. So over here, we actually talked about what Excel understands and what it does not understand. So every single thing Excel understands, are here. And below here, those are what Excel does not understand. And everything that Excel does not understand is being passed into double quotes for Excel to still find it, worthy to return something for us. So this time around, what it is that we need to do. How do we do that? So quickly, let me show you by going over to the if function here. Under the if function, I'm going to type in my if over here. So with the if here, we're going to test this and check if this particular value here is greater than 500. You understand? So if that is true, what do we want? We want to actually, type in large. So large, if you type large like this, can you see? We have function return back. And if I click on my tab key right now, it will open, a parenthesis thinking I'm trying to actually use large function inside the if function, which is not. So what do we do? To make sure, Excel does not pop out any function, inside double quotes, we type large over here. So maybe large order. Then otherwise, give me small order. So if I close and hit my enter key right now, you can see over here, and I copy down. Do you see? Do you see this now? Can you see it? So previously, before now, we have talked about, our conditional formatting. Do you know we can format this right now? And we can format the small order in red and the large order in green. And what we want to format here right now is just the text, not the cells. So let me show you. Highlight this particular portion here. Then go over to this particular part, home, conditional formatting. This time around, you're not selecting any of these. Instead, you're going to go over to manage rules. So once we are here, we click on new rule. Then over here, we're going to select use formula to determine what you want. So this is going to be a little bit complex. Yeah, but we have to learn it. So what I'm going to do right now is to select this particular part here and click over here. Then select this particular one and come over here and take off. Okay, before then, we're going to actually work without actually highlighting any. Removing any of this particular $sign here. Because you're trying to copy down. Automatically want everywhere we have small to be in red. But this time around, we're not doing that. So if it is equals small order, so we want to have it on red. And what we want to affect is the text and want to make it bold. Then we choose to have it on red. And if I click on OK, let's see what is going to happen. Then over here, I'm going to click on apply. Everything is red. So what do we do? This is technical. What do we do? So click back over here right now and go to edit rule. Take off the back one, then click on OK. Then apply. Nothing happens. So what is going on? This actually has to do with understanding how to log a cell. If we go back right now, I just go ahead and edit again. This time around, I'm going to actually have the $sign back over here. Then remove this particular one at the front. Then click on OK, then apply. Can you see what just happened right now? So right away, it has released large orders for us. So before I actually explain this to you, what just happened, let us do one more, then I'll actually explain. Now, click on New Rule. Then over here, click on this again. Click over here and select this cell. Then, when it is equals large order, then this time around, we don't want to actually, make it bold. We'll leave it this way, but we're going to choose to use a green color. So let us go with this particular green color here. So we just click on OK. So we have to take off this particular one. Okay, when we take off this very one I just removed right now, it simply means allow the cell to copy down. And make sure you monitor only where we have large order. So if you don't see large order, do not actually add green to it. So we have actually free the column to copy down. That is exactly what it is. You understand? It's something very basic. Let us go ahead and click on OK. And now if I click on apply, I have a different color. You can just click on OK, and here you go. You have different formatting. So you can see we have brought the knowledge we have actually learned here into this in a very more advanced way. This very part is very simple, which is the nested if and the if else. Let us start with the nested if over here. So, but before then, we have to understand the question. The question says here, look at each rows. Branch city. Mecca branches get a 500 bonus. Jeddah branches get a 300 bonus. Every other city gets 0. You get it right now. And over here, I have created a table that contains the city that will get bonus and other cities are being grouped to have 0. So those are the values we want to actually attribute to each of these particular cities. Now, where do we find city in our main table here? We can find city right in here. This is the branch city here. Okay, how do we get started? When we say nested if, it simply means piling up ifs multiple times. Now, this is our first if. The logical test here is going to be this very part here. Now, for we to avoid scrolling through to get to that particular part over and over again, we can copy this very part with what? With Ctrl C. It has been copied. We're going to put an equal sign to check if it is equals to this very maker here. Now, because we're going to be copying down, if we copy down, this one will move. So we do F4 key to make sure we surround it by $, which is the column. Remember, column is the alphabet H and row is the number. So we surrounded it with the column. Then if that is true, with the comma right now, we want to give them 500. Okay, now, if it is true, that is what we have given. What if it is false? We don't want to give it if it is false. We skip that for now with another if function. This is what we call nested if, because we are adding another if to the previous one. Now, the previous, this thing I copied, I pasted it over here, this C14, which is exactly this particular same cell. We now go ahead and say if it is equals to this very one, F4 key to lock it down. If that is true, a comma, give us this. Now, this time around, we don't want to actually use under if again. If it is false right now, what we want to actually have is that we want to actually have this 0. So make sure this particular part here is locked down as well. F4 key. Then with the comma, we can go ahead and actually do this. Now we have to lock it down as well. Once I close, I have closed for the first if. Then close again, I have closed for the second if. Then I hit my enter key, I have 0. Because the first cell here is not actually either Mecca or Jeddah. So I can just go ahead and copy this down. Now, here you go, you have it. Can you see how easy it is? If else here is the most easiest one, but let me show you something very tricky about it. So we type in the if else and we paste in that particular cell we've copied previously before now. It's the same thing. We ask if it is equals to this. We have to lock it down. If that is true, give it this, lock it down. And again, instead of us to actually add another if else again, this one is giving us logical tests 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, on and on. The previous one is just logical test without numbers. But this particular one now, the first one here is our first logical test. And now we're actually going to the second logical test. So I'm going to actually paste the same exact thing over here. So what I'm going to do right now is to just paste in this very one here and ask if it is equals to this particular one. So without me bringing the if else again, this one should be locked down. If that is true, we want to get this. And if I go ahead and put 0 over here and close this and hit my enter key right now, it's asking me that you have entered too few arguments. You understand? So I'm going to take off the 0 for now. and hit my enter key, it worked. You understand? If I copy this down now, this is exactly what I have. So everywhere we have zeros under the nested if, we are now having NA because it's telling us that it's not available. So the question now is that how do we actually do away with NA? We have two options. Now the first option is to use if NA. Let me show you that. So I'm going to copy this particular one from here. Copy it, paste it over here, and come over here now and use if NA. The value is actually all the if s here is our value that we're going to supply to if NA. What we want is to have 0. Can you see it now? That one solves it. So all we just have to do is to put a comma and put 0, and we have gotten the same exact thing like what we have under the nested if. But we have an inbuilt, something inside if else to get that done. If I double click right now, I can come over here under the, if I just put my comma under the logical test 3, I'll just type in true. So I'll put a comma, then I'll put 0. Then hit my enter key. I still have the same exact thing. Can you see it now? It depends on which one you want to go for. So this particular one does not, need extra layer of another, function to work. But on this first one here, you need to actually use if NA. So choose whichever one is some kind of easy for you to use. So you can see how simple this is. We're going to stop this particular tutorial right in here. So maybe you might want to try the rest all by yourself